use cases in terms of sharing settings, effects, how it affects your report, data accessibility. Let's take note of this. When we're discussing things about security, organizational-wide defaults that restrict data accessibility. Now, when the data is being restricted through organizational-wide default, what do? There are other mechanisms like sharing rules, manual sharing, and criteria-based sharing to give accessibility to what organizational-wide default does not allow you to have like read-write access to. By the time you engage sharing rules, is going to give that kind of accessibility. So now, under this, under report, what is going to be the impact of all those things? That is what we've been referred to as the certain effect of reports data accessibility. When it has to do with sharing rules, what is the impact? The impact can extend access to specific record, affecting what data appears in reports. So the sharing rules now will give you rooms that, okay, allow you to have access. In terms of the report now, ordinarily, if you don't have a sharing rule that allow you access to a particular object, any object that organizational wide default limit you in terms of accessibility, that is the same level of access you're going to have to the report, except when a mechanism like sharing rules allow you to have that kind of access, or manual sharing allows you, or criteria-based sharing, then you'll be able to have read-write access to the report. But if it is set as private, if the organizational-wide default on a particular object is set private, forget it, my brothers. It won't happen. You won't be able to access that report, except you are somebody above the owner of that report in organizational hierarchy, or in the role hierarchy setting. Then you will be able to access the record of your subordinate. At the same time, run a report, have access to reports on the of your subordinates. Let's take note of that. Manual sharing, user with appropriate permission can manually share individuals' record. And this can impact report data accessibility. Use case for collaborative works. Users can manually share record they hold with other, ensuring those records appear in team-specific report. You see now, manual sharing comes to play when you are sharing a record with somebody that does not that's not supposed to have access to that record. But you that happen to be the owner of that record, that means before any other person is not having access to that record, simply means that the record is being set as private. Then you can do manual sharing to share it with others. That's what it means. So if it is done, maybe for collaboration's sake or team activities or expertise or whatsoever, you can now have access to the record. That's what it means. And the report as well, if that record is being shared with you manually. And another thing is criteria-based sharing. Impact simply means the report can be filtered to display only data that meets certain criteria, even if sharing setting will ordinarily prevent it. Now, the use case for this is that it allows users to create reports showing data that are relevant to their role, objective while respecting the overall data security. What it simply means is that when a criteria is in play, that means it is being set and it's being restricted at some field, maybe for security reason. They set a criteria-based sharing to say, okay, we're setting a criteria for this to filter this data to display only data that meets certain criteria. That means a data that meets that criteria will only be the one that will be showing on that report for that end users to access. Any other thing will be off it. That's what it means. Just to ensure overall data security and all the rest. Here is the table explaining the difference between data and metadata. It's also specifically it was mentioned in the exam guide that we should do something about data and metadata. The definition of a data is raw fact, figures, and information. When you enter amount, let's say amount as a field, will happen to be metadata. But the figure, what you input, let's say $1 million, $1 million, $2 million, 500,000 will happen to be what? Data specifically. That is the raw fact. Figure, something that you input is the data. The one that you don't input, that structurally, that is being within what will help you to hold your data. And the information about the data is what we refer to as metadata. The information, if you just write $1 million, $1 million now, without anything, you just write $1 million. It makes no sense on Salesforce platform. Except you now have a field, say amount. So when you now have amount now, then it gives information about the data that you enter. We should get that now. Very simple. Metadata gives information about the data. But the data is the fact, is the figure, is the information. Then another thing, nature, represent the actual content and payload, while metadata describe data and providing context. Example, text, all those texts that we enter, numbers, images, audio. It's not only numbers or amounts that make data. Text that you write, or images, audio, videos, they are also data. Then when you talk about metadata now, you talk about file size, creation date, font, auto, format, and all those ones. The purpose of data used for analysis, processing, or display. That is it. Metadata help manage, organize, and find data, while data used for analysis, processing, and display. Data in terms of structure, you have data to be what on structure and structure. But when you talk about metadata, you always have it in structured information and attribute. It's always structured. You know, you can have data, you can have unstructured data, you can have structured data. Then in terms of persistence, it can be temporary, it can be permanent. But typically, metadata is always permanent. Can change over time, but on a rare occasion, while we have data to change constantly, it can be permanent or temporal. In terms of data manipulation, data subject to transformation and manipulation so much. But metadata typically not alter. It doesn't, except for updates. You can have a kind of updates on your metadata, but typically it does not always alter, but you can manipulate data. Importance of data, primary focus for data analysis. That's what you need data for. The metadata in terms of importance is secondary. Its own is secondary. It has its secondary features in terms of importance. It assists in data management, but it's secondary. But primarily data is for data analysis. Use cases, content of a document, sensor readings, and etc. Wi-Fi property, database, schema, and tags in terms of metadata. In summary, data refer to the actual content or information, while metadata provide additional context, information about the data itself. What is helping you to provide information about the data is metadata. Metadata is crucial for managing, organizing, and understanding data. Without metadata, you will not even understand data. If you write any data now, you don't have a metadata there. It doesn't make any sense. It's just a figure. It's just a number. So it won't make any sense. Then, this aspect, let us take note of it. They normally come in different forms. I mean, for the multiple choice questions, I said it earlier that we have 4 types of reports. The 4 type of report that we have happen to be what? Tabular report, summary report, matrix report, and joint report. For better understanding now, we take them one after the other. And whatever things I emphasize, take note of it, because they ask many questions in this area. Some look alike, some are very close in terms of similarity, while some are not that close. When you hear about tabular report, simply the tabular report is just like a form of a table, a data in a table format. Coining from the word table is in a table format, a report. It's just a plain table format report. So tabular report is just for present data in a simple flat table format, just like what you have on CSV file. It just look like that. Nothing much. It has a column, it has a row. That's all. It doesn't make no charts added to it, no formula added to it, and all the rest. They are all useful for displaying a list of record and can include various fields like data in rows and columns. You see now, it's as simple as that. Let's just now move to summary report. Summary report provide the agile level of your data by grouping record based on specific criteria. So summary report help you to group data based on some criteria such as field, date ranges. Then they include subtotal and can help you to analyze data hierarchically. So you can use subtotal to kind of you can use when we get to reports, you'll be able to relate with it better practically, because if I'm saying it theoretically now, but what it simply means is that you can group it by subtotal, by adding row to it to group it. Then it will allow you becoming when you group it by using row, then it makes it a summary report. Matrix report organize data in a grid format, allowing you to group record by both rows and columns. You group a report when you use rows and columns to group a report. It's a matrix report. But when you use row only to group a report, take note, it's a summary report. That is the type of it's a summary report type. They only group report by rows. But when you use both columns and rows to group a report, then it becomes matrix report. They are helpful for cross-tabulating data, making it easier to compare different aspects of your data. We're going to do all that by the time we get to the report aspect. Another one that we have is joint report. Joint report combine multiple report types, both tabular, summary, and matrix, into a single report. Each block for a joint report can display data from different report types, making it versatile for analyzing data from various angles simultaneously. You can combine like contact and account to make a joint report. Contact and account have a kind of cascading lookup relationship, but still, if you delete record, if you delete contact, account will not be deleted. If you delete account contact will not be deleted. So it's a lookup relationship. Just take note of that. The kind of relationship that contact and account have is a lookup. It's not a master detail relationship. So before you can use a kind of join report, combining two different objects together, there must be kind of relationship between them. It can be master detail relationship. It can be um lookup relationship, but that must be you can't just carry one object now that does not relate to another one at all to say you want to relate them. You know, opportunity is having a kind of master data relationship with accounts. Then you can use join reports by making use both of tabular and summary and matrix. So in summary, I said summary reports use table row to categorize, to group a report. That is summary report. While matrix make use of both rows and column to actually group a record to make a report. Then the join reports make use of what we refer to as blocks. When you hear about block in any of your questions referring a type of a report that make use of block, it simply means joined report. And the joint reports combine both tabular, summary, and matrix mechanisms to integrate it into making a report. Take note of all those things. These are different types of a report in Salesforce and that serve various purposes when it comes to data analysis and presentation. Just all these different type of reports you must be able to, you must be able to relate with them so well as a Salesforce administrator. At all time, you must know how to make use of these different, how to build different type of report and all the rest. So it's been a long journey on this PowerPoint presentation. And why I don't rush it up uh, is because data and analytics questions, they will always ask it in theoretical format. And if you don't get all those key things that concept that mentions the difference between data loader, different report types, and all the rest, one can miss so many questions. And in most cases, you can get 100% in data analytics and management when you master it at this theoretical aspect. Then when we now get to the playground now, it will be able to make you to at least master it, that you'll be able to work comfortably. So you'll be able to master how you can use data loader, data import wizard, and different other tools on Salesforce platform. That has been a wonderful journey. On that, let's now go to the playground and continue to do our hand-on.
Right, that's a wrap up for today's video. I hope you have picked up some valuable insights and actionable tips in Salesforce ecosystem. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Give this video a big thumb up. If you found it helpful, I'm Asikola Oshirikan and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for more.